What's happening, everybody? Sorry about that. We were just had a quick technical glitch as I was going live, so I had to make sure I rebooted something and then went from there. So welcome to the exam breakdown. Today is Monday. I was about to say Wednesday. Monday the 17th, 2025, still recovering from St. Patrick's Day and the festivities. I apologize about that. We had a blast. Enjoying a wonderful party hosted by no other than my illustrious partner, Kate Tofuri, at her house. And it was an awesome thing. They have an amazing party every year. Lots of cool people show up, and it was a ton of fun. Lots of food, lots of drink, and everything else. But kind of crashing into Monday made me feel like it was Wednesday. So I apologize about said confusion. Anyway, we are here today, and the point of the exam breakdown is to get you primed for this real estate examination. On Mondays, we do real estate salespersons and real estate brokers, and what we do is we kind of break down pieces of the exam topics based off of my years of experience doing this and trying to focus merely on the essential and eliminate the non-essential fluff that you don't need to study to still get through this examination. So the goal here is to get you through with as little drag as possible, and to make sure that we're still holding you up to push you and hold you accountable. Now, remember, I cannot guarantee that you are going to pass, but what I can guarantee is that we know what we're doing. I've been doing this for a long time. I've trained tens of thousands of people, and if you just check out the comments on our YouTube site channel and all around, by the way, you're going to find proof, unsolicited proof, that people are passing all over the United States with the techniques, the approach, the content that we're developing and generating just for you. So keep at it. Now, with that being said, I've been working on this top secret project with my team, and I wanted to demo it for a few seconds just to give you a sneak peek about something else. So listen, I know how this game works. I've been doing this for a very long time. So I know that there's a percentage of people that can take a pre-licensing course, and in that course, they study, they take their exam, and they pass, number one. Then there's folks that have a hard time learning. The way they learn is unique and different. They have some challenges when it comes down to it. So no matter what they learn in their pre-licensing class, they will possibly still fail. Then there are students that go to our channel. It's free on YouTube. It's probably how you're checking us out here. And you're like, okay, this is great. You ingest the content. You're learning from me. You're learning from, by scrolling through YouTube. And then there's a percentage of students that are going to pass and then fail. And then there's folks that will constantly be distracted. I mean, looking at, scroll after scroll after scroll, different video after video after video, contradiction here and there. And then they're probably going to not do good on this exam. Boom. And then there's folks that have taken a pre-licensing course, and the instructor absolutely stunk. They were non-energetic. They had no passion. They didn't care about you. They don't care about any of this stuff. They don't have actual experience in real estate. They're not real investors. They don't know this stuff. They haven't committed to their DNA. They're not passionate about teaching. They're not trying to help you. They're just running through the motions. They want some ulterior thing. And then that's a group. And then you have this terrible experience. It's like drinking water through a fire hose. Your brain will actually shift from active learning to passive learning, because pretty much everything out there is structured in a way that makes you feel that you just need to get through the hours and then you'll study. So literally you're sitting there wasting 100 hours of your time by listening to somebody drone on about the pre-licensing content, which isn't designed to make you pass. It is designed to fill the hours, and hopefully some of the stuff will make you pass. So again, I said it. I'm going to cast big rocks and pitch them at the problems that you are experiencing. If you hear me, then say, yes, I agree in the comments. Tell me what your problems are. Tell me about your bad experiences as you're learning. I want to hear them. Kate wants to hear them. We just want to check out and see if what we're doing is effective or not. Now, later, I'm going to show you something really cool about something that I've been working on with my team, and I'll sort of demo it for you, and you tell me what you think. If you're interested, again, you can reach out and say, I am interested, and we will absolutely figure out a way to send you the links once we launch our new program. It's a masterclass that shaves hours off of this stuff. People spend, hours and hours and hours of wasted time doing this. I've figured out ways to condense this stuff into microscopic, only effective, literally the way that you're supposed to learn this stuff kind of a technique. And you're going to dig it. If this if the channel isn't suiting you. And again, it's suiting many. So, I'm very confident that if nothing else, with time invested and like trying to reduce your distraction piece, you're probably going to do fine inevitably for a percentage of my student body. So some of you guys are just going to be able to go through our content and pass with that, right? So like, again, it's just trying to figure out what everybody needs. And because the goal is to make sure as many people as possible can pass so you can move on and make coin doing this and change your lives and make things happen and serve you and your family and your surroundings. That's the goal. You got to believe it because it's like the truth. That's how, I'm telling you, that's what drives me, nothing more, just making you pass. All right. So today what we're going to be working on is brokerage. That's the concept that we're going to be covering today. And we're going to cover a few of these items. Let me just look over my shoulder. I just want to make sure everything is streaming fine. It looks like we're good to go. We don't have any drop frames. Everything is happy. Sweet. All right. You guys should be able to hear me and everything. So let me pop in here and just check and see if we're getting any questions or anything. All right, cool. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee. And here we go. All right. So the first things first, we're going to be getting into brokerage. Brokerage is a very basic, it's like sort of where you should start when you're trying to understand what's going on. We learn about licensing. We learn about the concept of what you need to get licensed. Part of it is going to be going through some hours of education that your states are going to require you to go through. Again, I was bashing on some teachers. Not all the teachers are terrible. Trust me. I know plenty of educators that are really dedicated to doing it. I also know plenty of educators that are terrible. And I've experienced their courses. I've gone through their programs as a student just to check them out. I've purchased tons of books and materials, and I just know what's out there. So that's where it's coming from. All right. So what is brokerage? Brokerage and agents. Another way you can say agents, by the way, is salespersons. Okay, brokers and agents act as intermediaries. That word is a fancy word. It just means that you are in between two parties, between buyers and sellers. It could be landlords and tenants, by the way. And you're trying to help facilitate the buying, the selling, or renting of a property. So the first thing that I teach students when I'm at the beginning is we start at the very root of what's happening. Why are you here? I mean, most folks are here to make commissions, to make money, not even to make commissions, to make some good money. They've some way, shape, or form have looked into what real estate professionals are making. The barrier to entry is relatively inexpensive in terms of cost many times, and the probability, no glass ceiling kind of thing is there. So like you can make whatever you want in this business if you do it right. So many don't do it right, which is one of the big reasons why a lot of folks don't make a lot of money doing this. And so that's the basic definition and framework of what is brokerage. Now, the breakdown here is we have salespersons and we have brokers. So across the United States, there are two licenses. The introductory license is called the salesperson's license. Now, in some areas, sometimes they may refer to them as broker associate, or they may refer to them simply as sales agent or salesperson. In other states, they might actually call a broker associate somebody that has a broker's license, but because they're not running their own operation, they're just simply an associate broker. They've given up the right to collect the money on the transactions and handle those deals. They are basically a broker by license, but they've given up their right. So in some situations, in some states, and again, you're going to want to check with your state. Generally speaking, it's agent, salesperson. Sometimes it's broker associate. And then sometimes they'll also use the word broker associate here when the broker is simply giving up their license to do such. The first license is the salesperson's license. You need to work under a broker's supervision, and then you have to do that for a certain period of time. Every state will be different. In the state that I'm in, Massachusetts, it's 3 years, and 25 hours a week minimum for 3 years of a period. You can stretch that 3-year apprenticeship out over 5 years if you want to, so you're doing less weekly hours. But that's the basic sort of litmus test. So again, check with your states. It's not a big deal. Fundamentally, what I'm going through here is stuff that applies in every state. Now, licensed to perform real estate activities on behalf of a licensed real estate broker. So we are working on behalf or representing the broker. That makes us a general agent of the broker. That's something y'all want to know. The difference between a general agent and a special agent. All right, so those are things you will see. Now, the broker, on the other side here, manages the agents or other brokers and oversees the transactions. They are liable for the missteps of anyone underneath them. It's a higher level of licensure. And to get a broker's license in many states, you have to have a certain amount of years in the business. Now, it isn't necessarily transactional volume. It's just the number of years you've been licensed in good standing. Now, what's unique about the salesperson and the broker is that a broker can act independently and open their own real estate offices. So there is a big difference. The broker has this level of autonomy. A salesperson has to be affiliated with brokers. Now, you can only be affiliated as a salesperson with one broker in that state at one time. So you can only be affiliated with one broker. As a broker, you can be affiliated with multiple entities in that same state, including opening up your own firms, which is completely fine, subject to the firms allowing you to do that. So just an example, let's say you are a broker working at a commercial real estate brokerage, and the primary source of your revenue, your earnings, comes from leasing business properties into commercial tenants. But let's say you also want to refer out business for residential transactions that you come across quite frequently in your industry. Or you want someone to, you want to have, get paid commissions for buying your own investment properties. That's definitely a thing. For example, the place that we're at now, when we closed on it, just because I happen to have a broker's license, I'm a professional investor and an educator. I feel like that's what I identify as primarily. But when we closed on this property, we got a check for $30,000 because I had a broker's license, right? So if you think about it just from that standpoint, man, that's great. So you're doing your own deals, you're closing your own transactions, you have your own licensure, you can just use it for those applications. I've got a buddy in the city who's like big time, and they have a couple of buildings of portfolios, and their management company rents out the assets, and then he has broker's licenses, and he gets paid commissions on these transactions, and he participates in those as the broker, and he's getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars just in commissions and fees that he's charging and he's getting back from the transactions. So there's, again, it's a really effective leveraging tool. I have another buddy that's a actual bona fide rocket scientist, and works for a propulsion laboratory, and is a super geek, and they have a broker's license, and his spouse has a salesperson's license, and so she's a teacher. She does certain deals during the summer when she's off. She does 15 rentals in the city, and then they do like one sale or two sales a year that just kind of come by the way of referrals and friends and family and blah and blah. And they have 4 kids, and they make like $150,000 to $200,000 in transaction fees. If it's in a really good year, and then if it's not a really good year, they don't work too hard to kill themselves. But if they do 15 rentals in a really good area, and then they do that, they have to be able to take their family on some sort of a vacation and still tuck away money into investments and buy investment properties with the money that they're generating that's left over. So literally they utilize it functionally for purposes. And again, so I'm just giving you ideas. Hopefully they're, helping you think through why you're really doing this. Now, the way it works in every state is there are 2 designations when it comes to real estate professionals. The primary one that you see is the independent contractor. This is definitely on exams. You want to know the difference between these two. An employee is hired to perform specific tasks and may be required to follow rules for hours, attendance, performance, and is generally on some sort of payroll or salary. They get some kind of benefits. It could be health benefits. It could be, matched contributions and retirement funds and blah and blah and blah. The independent contractor is in charge of their own business operations and cannot be mandated to attend specific office hours. They get paid through commissions. So they get paid based on a percentage many times of the end of the day sales price is how you typically get paid. Now, all commissions are 100% negotiable. So you want to know that we can negotiate these fees no matter what, and the difference between independent contractor and employee. The majority of real estate professionals are treated as independent contractors. So if you look at it like this, you're self-employed. You're going into business for yourself, and you're connecting your license to a brokerage firm if it's a salesperson's license, and you're kind of operating in that fashion. That's sort of how this whole thing works. You definitely want to know these for your exam. Now, in terms of the broker and the associate relationship, there's this idea of agent supervision. The broker is or has liability and responsibility for acts of the associated licensees, whether they be employees or independent contractors, including any unlicensed employees. So, including the marketing department, including the appointment setters and this and that, all those folks that don't need necessary licenses if they're not doing what is defined as a salesperson, an assistant of mine working for me, but not, hosting open houses, etc. Then the broker is liable for everyone. Responsibility to train and supervise these associated licensees, employees, or independent contractors, including any unlicensed employees. So the broker is in charge and liable. Okay. You need to know that for this exam. Let's take a peek at a question. Which of the following is not typical of an independent contractor in real estate? Letter A, they set their own work hours and schedules. Letter B, they receive a regular salary with benefits. Letter C, they are paid by commission instead of fixed wages. Letter D, they are responsible for their own business expenses. And the answer? Letter B, they receive a regular salary with benefits. All right, so the idea here is you want to know that an independent contractor receives commissions. Typically, they're not receiving hourly wages. They're not receiving any benefits. To a lot of folks, that's very unsettling, right? To a person, I'm just going to reassure you, even people with a job are basically just one paycheck away. If you look at it, my opinion, but if you look at it from that, you're one paycheck away from unemployment. There's no difference. The sense of, that you will have a job may be the issue. And again, everything that you're doing is basically a commission. If you really think about it, you're just earning a capped commission if you have a job and you're like an employee versus somebody that's not. I mean, think about it. If you look at it from that terms, even if you do an exemplary job and you increase the revenue of the company and you do all that stuff, basically you're getting paid a fixed capped commission. And even if you generate X times more revenue because of your direct efforts, you're not going to participate in that necessarily. You may get bonuses, you may get incentives of that. And that's always great to be able to negotiate, but that isn't standard for most jobs. And most people don't think that way. But everything you do is a commission. It's been said that even a reward in the terms of finding a spouse in a relationship is basically a commission. It's an earning of some kind. If you look at it from every fundamental angle, like commissions just exist everywhere. And it's not just monetary rewards. It could be love and affection. It could be anything. Then one could argue that everything basically, when you do what you're supposed to do and do it well, is basically some form of commission. So it's like, it's the headspace and the logic of what this stuff is that oftentimes people don't have, miss the point of it. So don't get scared of commissions. Everything we do is like commission logic. Trust and escrow accounts. Now, one of the things that brokers can do is hold other parties' money to the transaction. That's one of their magics. So a trust account, sometimes known as an escrow account, is a designated account where funds are or assets are held by third parties, namely brokers. And what they do is they securely hold and protect funds belonging to the transaction until they are dispersed according to the terms of the agreement. Commingling and conversion are definitely on this exam. Commingling, the act of mixing a client's transaction funds with a broker's personal funds. That is known as commingling. Mixing my money, if I were the broker, with client money. Mixing broker funds with client or customer funds. That is grounds for suspension or revocation, dangerous. And the bigger of the two infractions is conversion. Conversion simply means using other people's money, is the unauthorized use of funds by a broker. I'm going to tell you both of these terms are on real estate examinations, guaranteed across the United States. You will see these, so you should know these, okay? Definitely study these. Commingling and conversion. Let's take a look at a question. A real estate broker depositing a client's escrow funds into their personal bank account and then later using that money for personal expense. This is an example of letter A, commingling. Letter B, reconciliation. Letter C, conversion. Letter D, embezzlement. And the answer? Letter C. This is conversion. Now, something to note here in the way that the writer of this question wrote this question. What they were looking for was a definitive answer. And some students, the number one wrong answer would have been commingling. But what makes this conversion for this exam, and why I would have picked conversion no matter what, is simply because it says, and later uses the money for personal expenses. That is the trigger for conversion. So sometimes on exams, they might play with you a little here. They'll throw both in an exam scenario, and they want you to know. If it would have just stopped into their bank account and they didn't have this entire thing here, then it's commingling, okay? It's not conversion. So again, very, very interesting the way that this question was worded. Again, we do this by design to make sure you see how questions can come at you and unfortunately cause a little bit of confusion. It's never straight to the punch. Trust me, we've been doing this for a while and I know what's out there. I know what's being tested on, so you can see. Rest assured, again, I don't have a copy of your exam. My targeting system is just crazy good because of all of the data that we have, all of the years of information and intelligence that we've gathered on this particular topic, and then just constantly looking at what's out there and understanding how things are being brought. Let's talk some good stuff, commission and fees. There's a couple of vocab phrases that we want to know here regarding commissions and fees. Number one, procuring cause. You definitely need to know this for your test. What is procuring cause? Just taking a little sip. All right. So procuring cause. The party in a real estate transaction who originates a series of events that resulted in the sale by being the first to introduce the ready, willing, and able purchaser. I also describe it as you're the catalyst to the reaction in the experiment. You started a chain reaction that ultimately led to the deal closing. Had it not been for you, initially, starting this reaction, the deal would have never closed. You are the linking point or the linkage between these two parties in the transaction and the transaction itself. Now, procuring cause has to be established in order to earn a commission. So let's say if two real estate professionals take the real estate, the customer to this same rental property, but at different times, right? Why might that happen? You walk into a firm, if you're a prospective tenant, you say, hey, do you have any apartments of like this nature? One agent shows it to you and they take you over there, or they tell you all about it and you love it. But then they say, well, to work with us, we charge a fee because you engaged us first. And the fee is 1 month's rent. And then, you understand that it might be negotiable. So you walk out the door and you notice that the same apartment is being advertised by another brokerage firm just down the road. Basically, if you're walking, in the city, you might see the same apartment. You're like, huh, that's interesting. So you go in there and you're like, well, listen, I just heard about this one from the broker up the street. Can you get me there? And by the way, are you going to charge me a full month's rent for the fee? And then this agent, being sort of enterprising, is like, no, I'll charge you 3/4 of a fee. How's that? Or I'll knock off $500 off the fee and take you over there. Now, procuring cause can be argued, but the more substantial evidence that you have, if you have to go to your real estate board and argue between two parties with arbitration or mediation, then there's a lot more leg to stand on. Merely talking to somebody, the initial first broker, that's not enough meat. Really, you want to take them over to the property and say, on today, we looked at this property. So there's like something of substance that somebody signs off on that says, we looked at these properties today, just so you know, we looked at them first, right? So like that's the idea of procuring cause. inside of agreements, many times there's another clause called a broker protection clause. And this provision commonly found in real estate listing agreements between a property owner, the seller, and a real estate agent. Because think about it. A broker protection clause basically says, well, what if the listing expires? But during the time that you hired me to try to sell your place, right? So a listing expires because, let's say, you can't perform. You list a property, let's say it's overpriced, and it just sits there on the market. And then your listing expires. But during that time, you show it to multiple buyers, right? Nobody swings at it. And then all of a sudden, the seller figures out who the buyer was, or the buyer reaches out directly to the seller. That happens sometimes, and says, hey, listen, I just checked out your awesome place. It was kind of listed high. Would you like to negotiate between you and I? And if we can do that, then we can cut the broker out. And the broker, you don't have to pay this broker all of this commission, and then I'll still buy it for you at a little bit of a discount, and we'll all be happy. Win-win. And so if you have a broker protection clause in the listing agreement, it's going to protect the broker in the event that somebody later comes back to the transaction after the listing expires that you were the procuring cause to, and you're still able to argue that you're entitled to a commission. Had it not been for you hosting that open house, that buyer wouldn't have showed up. You have them in a sign-in sheet. You can present that to the seller and say, look, I understand you sold it to this person, but the only way they would have come back is after or directly reached out to you. I still should be entitled to a commission. And that's the broker protection clause. A referral fee and other finder fees are other ways that you can generate income as well. All right, how to earn a commission. Number one, you have to be hired by a client, either in writing. So look at this word express and think of it, this is fine for like these 101 classes. Express meaning in writing. And implied means oral or through action. These two phrases are definitely on exams. So number one, you have to be hired. Number two, you have to produce a ready, willing, and able buyer or tenant ready to take action and be able to close on the transaction. And number three, you have to establish procuring cause. So these are the three elements, number one, number two, and number three, in order to earn a commission. Generally speaking, across the United States, you need to know these three so that you can reproduce them. So one of these questions might be, all of the following are things that are needed in order to earn a commission, except kind of thing, right? Now, in some states, I will say, in some states, they also require that the deal closes in order for the agent to earn a commission. So some states further require that the deal needs to also close. So hired by a client, produce a ready, willing, and able party, be the procuring cause, and then in some states there's a fourth one, it's the deal has to close. I'm not going to write that down because that's, generally speaking on the national exam, this is all the three that you need. And then let's go through some of the bullet points of compensation or commissions. Number one, I mentioned this earlier, commissions are always 100% negotiable. You need to know that going into the exam and then getting out of the exam as well. The listing agent markets the property, finds potential buyers or tenants, and negotiates offers on behalf of the seller. We call this the listing agent. The buyer's agent helps find suitable properties, arranges viewings, and assists in negotiating offers representing the buyer. Do you want to know the difference between a listing agent or seller's agent? Sometimes a listing agent can also be referred to as a seller's agent. Commissions usually earned when a completed sales contract has been executed. That's usually the litmus test. And then the procuring cause, remember, the broker or their agent started a chain of events that resulted in a sale. You definitely want to know procuring cause. A salesperson's compensation. The amount and method of compensation is set by agreement between the broker and the salesperson. Again, negotiable, 100%. Commission structures vary by brokerage, office, and agent's experience level. The more experience you have, the more commission that you can negotiate. Many times when you're just getting into the business, by the way, you have to take what you can get. So some companies might give you listings. So if you really don't want to generate your own leads, then they might say, look, we keep 75%, but we generate all the business. We do all of the marketing. We have foot traffic come in, and all you got to do is look at our inventory and go ahead and sell it, rent it, get the paperwork together, and you get a 0.25% of that. If that's not good, the better you do, the more that they're going to negotiate and give you. If you don't have that kind of thing, then it could be 50-50. You have to generate your own business. It could be 60-40. It could be 80-20. It could be 90-10, right? So, and then there's some companies that offer 100% commission, but charge a transaction fee for every deal that you close. Everybody is going to be different. The agent's compensation is a share of the sales commission, normally a percentage of the total, less any transaction fees. An example here of compensation: a home sells for $800,000 and the listing agent charges a 3% commission rate and has a 60-40 split with their broker. So we take the percentages. $800,000 is the home's sale price. 3% is $24,000. And if there's a 60-40 split, the 60% of the $24,000 is $14,440 to the agent. Now, when you see this, if nothing is written in the exam and it's kind of left like this, then always assume, and this is important, that the first number, the 60 in this case, is the salesperson's number. And then the 40% is the broker. Okay, you'll many times see that, and they don't write it, and then they'll give you the other answer, the other side of the coin, and some students will take that. So the first number is the agent's cut, or the person that we're talking about's cut. Put it that way. Some of the incentives: graduated commission splits. So when you're in the business, the better you do, the longer you've been doing it, then you'll get a elevated commission split. It goes up. Agents typically earn a higher percentage of the sales price or commission amount as they reach certain performance milestones or sales threshold. And there's a capping scenario, a system used by some brokerages where agents pay a certain amount of their commission to the firm until they reach a predefined threshold, often referred to as the cap. Once they reach the cap, they are no longer required to pay a portion of their commission to the brokerage for a certain period of time, usually the rest of the year. So the brokerage could say, hey, listen, you have to close, it could be a dollar amount, it could be a percentage amount, it could be a volume amount, whatever. And then they say at that point, you get 100% of your commissions thereafter till the end of the year. And capping is another interesting incentive. So you want to ask the brokerage firm sort of how they pay, what they do for graduated commission splits, if they have any, and what they do for capping and all these other incentives. It's a lot of different things, as you can see. All right. Next question: how is the commission rate between an agent and their broker determined? Letter A, the National Association of Realtors sets commission rates. Letter B, the Board of Real Estate establishes the commission structure. Letter C, the Federal Trade Commission, or the FTC, regulates real estate commissions. Letter D, by an agreement between the broker and the salesperson. And the answer? Letter D, by an agreement between the broker and the salesperson. Please don't forget that it's 100% negotiable. Okay. Awesome. Great job. That was brokerage in a nutshell. Some very basic concepts, but definitely on exams. These basic things like what is procuring cause, how to earn a commission, what are commission incentives, what are splits, one of the typical things. You want to kind of understand listing agent versus buyer's agent. You want to understand what a salesperson is different from a broker, what is employee versus independent contractor, all things that you're definitely going to see on this examination. So hopefully this clarified it. Fairly rudimentary approach today, but it's critical. You still see problems. And if you notice on that one question about commingling and conversion, yeah, it's a simple vocab phrase, but if you don't read the question fully, thoroughly, and properly, and try to understand the vibe of what the test writer is looking for, you could trip up. So you definitely want to continue to focus on questions, and you will continue to do well. All right, so that's the exam breakdown for today. I wanted to show you really, really quickly our new platform that we've been working on. I'm super excited about this. Let me just pull this up real quick. And basically what we've come up with here is a really killer, super duper way of going through this content in a very, very methodical way, and we've figured out a way to condense your study time to about 6 hours, not including these world-class exams. So basically, you're kind of seeing this for the first time. It's a brand new platform that we've created. And what it is this particular program is called the Exam Essentials. And what Exam Essentials is basically a 25-year journey of me and Kate Tofury also contributing to this, and tens of thousands of students and 40,000. This is crazy. We added it all up. How many hours I've taught over the years? 40,000 plus hours of time learning with all kinds of learning modalities and different students and how they learn and their frustrations, and then when they fail, what happened and everything else. And we've come up with this masterclass of what you need to study. What you don't need to study is also completely been eliminated, so you'll know exactly what you do need to focus on. So this is the program. I'm just going to give you a quick sneak peek. It is a video-based program that has tons of cool things. What we're also going to do, it follows the exact outline of every exam center on the planet. We are only compressing these videos. So again, the total thing is like each video could be 30 minutes. It could be a little close to 40. It could be 20 minutes. They're very condensed, and I've gotten only the information that I know is the highest of the highest probability. I've cut out all the extraneous nonsense. Think about or take a look at your textbooks right now, and you have 600, 700 pages, and most of that stuff is garbage. Most of it is nonsense. Now, I don't mean it garbage like in an insulting way. It's garbage for the examination. The truth is, if you want to really understand real estate, you need to know everything. These courses that you're taking, they're not made for exam prep. They are made for you to sit through hours that the states require you to sit through. That's the way this game works. And what the Exam Essentials program is basically doing is saying, no more. You have to do that. So check this out. It's all kinds of crazy topics. Everything is covered here. I'm even throwing in some bonuses. Kate thought I was nuts to do this, but we are also adding in all of the real estate math that you absolutely need and how to do it, and our famous, world famous vocabulary that everybody loves, audio downloads, all kinds of different, formats, video and downloadable. I think we're tossing in like 400 additional printable flashcards as well. And then we're throwing in the 2 perfect examinations. These are battle-tested exam questions that we've looked at for 25 years, man. I've been looking at this stuff for a long time. And this is my compilation, my piece de resistance. Included with the exams are additional 2 videos, each being around 3 hours of me breaking down each of the questions to kind of go through it like we do on YouTube without the advertisements and everything else. So I just wanted to show you that. And in addition to that, what I also built was an entire community off the channel where you can check out all kinds of the content that's on there, all of our award-winning stuff for the YouTube channel, ads free, of course, everything organized and categorized, set up by the questions. I know a lot of you guys like questions. I know a lot of you guys like flashcards. All of you guys, some of you guys need the math help. So I've chronicled everything. And then what I've done is I've put in a global amazing search here. So you can basically type in anything, like just type in, I don't know, radon, for example. It goes through hundreds of my old videos, lectures and everything else, and finds exactly what you need and then takes you exactly there. So like, for example, it'll take you right to this section in radon. It launches the video. Just basic stuff, not at the depth of lead paint, but we need to know a little bit of. Now I'm fairly confident that PSI really likes to test on radon, especially in their national exam. The even their practice exams, I've seen radon questions, when I've taken them. So radon is this odorless, colorless, tasteless radio. So just think about that. You're able to go through, find information, copy and paste it in there, global search, ads free. It's cool. It's crazy, man. And the other thing that we're putting in here is we're putting in some awesome courses. We're doing a 7-figure mindset, which I go through exactly the mindset and the classic pitfalls of what everybody goes through when they're unable to generate revenue. Just so some of y'all know, I've been a professional investor since I bought my first investment property when I was 18 years old, and I've never looked back since. And so, I've been practicing what I preach. I'm a big believer in mindset, and that's what's holding a lot of you back. And I realize that after years of doing this. So this is going to calibrate the minds so you get to learn to think what a 7-figure earner, a person that just understands what they go through. This stuff is awesome. And then another one that we're doing is an agent 30-day blueprint. What do you do? How do you get ready for this industry? How do you maximize success? And the 30-day blueprint is an exact thing that I've been working with like so many top producers for the years. This is an expose on what they wish they knew before they got into the business, while they were in pre-licensing, before pre-licensing. And if they knew this stuff, they would have saved years off of their careers by learning this now. And so this 30-day roadmap and the agent blueprint and the mindset, all of that stuff is going to be a part of the overall program that you're going to get when you purchase the Masterclass. So if you are interested in something like this, again, I just wanted to give you a sneak peek. Now I'm going to sneak away. If you are interested in something like this, go ahead and leave it in the comments. Let us know. This isn't complete yet. It's about to be released, but I just wanted to give you a little taste. Again, I know how all of this works, and there are going to be students that still, despite the content on YouTube and our love for you on this YouTube channel, that you still might need the extra lift. And you're putting in the time, so you might as well put in efficient time. Many of our students over the years that I've been building these concepts for have been able to do this in within 21 days, 3 weeks. And it's then they're done. You're not putting in hundreds of wasted hours and everything else. I know for a fact also that a lot of our YouTube students, we are spending about 15,000 hours of content absorption every 28 days. So it's wonderful. I love you. You're my people. But we wanted to build something that would make and streamline this. So if you are interested, let us know, and we're happy to reach out to you. Or once it launches, if you want to add your name to an email list, we'd be happy to let you know. All right. So that being said, thank you once again for hanging out with us. I hope the time that you spent with me today yields y'all some success. Good luck with your studies and good luck on your test. The next exam breakdown is this Wednesday, where we work through the mortgage loan originators content to help those folks studying for that examination. Those industries, this industry, everything is going to be killing it over the next couple years. Things are going to drastically change, and my prediction is things are going to change for the better when it comes down to these particular industries, okay? So there will be opportunity. I'm not talking about a rosy picture, but I'm talking about there's a potential for rates coming down. There's a possibility for more housing being built. There's a possibility for more demand and less supply, which could put you in a position to be able to do more. There could be a position where, so there's an monetary opportunity is what I'm trying to say. And I want you all, my students, to be on that, ahead of that curve. All right. So I will see you in the next one. Thank you once again for subscribing to the channel. You guys are awesome. We really appreciate it. It is our love to be able to teach you. It is my passion to continue to do this and hopefully see y'all pass. Tell us about the stories. You keep telling us. I love it. Keep telling us when you're passing. Keep telling us and telling us. And all my friends that haven't subscribed, consider subscribing to our channel, where you're going to learn a ton about anything real estate. We'll see you soon.